Hey everybody, this is Dora from flippinghousesanpancakes.com. I first off, I should let you know I'm drinking a hot drink. I'm getting over bronchitis, and so I hope you forgive me. My voice is never super great, but today it's even worse than usual. I'm gonna try and get through this video without too much coughing and with some hot tea and honey. I thought that today I would talk to you a little bit about when I was first starting to work on my cookbook. One of the main things was coming up with a title, and one of the things that I found was the trickiest was I was trying to tie the two subjects together. And my cookbook is a cookbook, obviously, so it's got lots of recipes and fun stories and things like that. But I also included my house renovation and kitchen design tips and things like that. And I wanted to tie the two subjects together. I actually started my cookbook before I started my Instagram account, before I started my YouTube channel, before I started my Pinterest and my blog and website and everything. I started my cookbook first. So I guess I should tell you a little bit about what happened. I started to work on a cookbook, and I was talking with a friend, and she was like, hey, it'd be really cool to include some of your kitchen stuff in it. And I was like, well, that makes sense, because kitchens and cooking, they're super tied together, because of course you cook in the kitchen, and the way your kitchen is set up and how functional it is really makes a difference when you're cooking. It makes cooking so much better. So I decided I decided that I would tie the two in together in my cookbook. But I had never written a cookbook before, so I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. So what I did was I actually ended up speaking to another cookbook author who had put out several cookbooks, and she was like, well, you need social media. You need a social media account. So I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to name my social media account whatever my book title is. So I should come up with a book title. So what I did was it was actually pretty funny. My family was sitting around the dinner table, and I was messaging with a good friend who actually edited my book, Hannah Gerstein, and she was sitting around her dinner table at her house. And I called her and I spoke with her, and I was like, I need to come up with a title that connects the two subjects, because I'm going to use it for my book, but I'm also going to use it because I want to start an Instagram page, so that people will know who I am, and people will know what my book is about. And I was told I need social media. I had never been on social media. It sounds crazy, but I had one Facebook account that I almost never used. And I had never really done anything else on social media other than, I had seen other people's things. I had watched YouTube videos and looked at other people's Instagram accounts, but I never had anything that I was posting. I just, very busy, didn't really feel the need to do it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start an Instagram page, but I want to use the title for my book. So I need to come up with a title for my book. So she's like, well, I'll talk with my family over here, and you talk with your family, and we'll come up with some things, and we'll just text them back and forth. So we had a very funny night. I'm just going to take another sip. We had a very funny night where it was just text messaging back and forth and back and forth. The names that her family came up with, and the names that my family came up with. If you know me, well, I'm very serious. I do a lot of things. I'm constantly working, teaching my kids, because of course my kids are homeschooled, and taking care of family, and working in our business, taking care of house, the house and everything in life. But I also have a sense of humor. I personally think I have a sense of humor. I don't like to be I'm sorry. I don't like to be super serious all the time. So I was like, I don't want a book title that's too stuffy. Like, it can't be too stuffy. Let's see what we come up with. So I actually have a list that I wrote down all of the titles that we had come up with before we came up with Flipping Houses and Pancakes. And I thought that I would tell you some of them, and maybe you'll let me know in the comments down below if you liked any of them, or if you're like, hey, use that title for your next book. But don't tell my family that. That'll freak them out if I have another book coming out anytime soon. But some of them were very humorous. And it was just like my kids and my friend's kids, and actually I think her parents were maybe at her house at the time, so her parents were adding stuff. I'll start the list, and you'll let me know in the comments if you had any where you're like, hey, that was a really good title, or oh my gosh, that title's crazy. So the first one we came up with, and I actually really liked it and almost went with this one, was Building Flavor. And it was like, you know, building flavor. You build flavor when you're cooking, as you layer your food while you're cooking. And of course, you can build flavor into a kitchen or a space by giving it some care and giving it some detail. So we were going to do Building Flavor, Build Your Meal, Build Your Kitchen, which would tie the two subjects together, of course. But also, I don't know, that was I think my second favorite. That's the one that I almost went with, was Building Flavor. Dinner with the Kitchen Spinner. I don't know about that one, but Dinner with the Kitchen Spinner. We had like Renovate Your Plate. It was like, you know, you're renovating your meals, renovating your house, kind of ties the two words. Food construction. Although, to be honest, I'm not like a major, you know, I don't do all those fancy things that chefs do where they're literally constructing towers and all kinds of things with their food, or very fancy things. My food's not fancy. My food tastes good and is usually easy to make. There's an occasional recipe that's more complicated, but it's more about how it tastes and how it feels when you eat it than it is in how it looks, I guess. Let's see. Kosher Reno, because it's a kosher cookbook. So I was like, well, maybe I'll throw the word kosher in the title. Kitchen Adventures. Kosher recipes and renovations. So we're going to go with that one. I still liked Building Flavor better at that point. Kitchens are for cooking in. That would tie everything together. I was like, kitchens are for cooking in. But then I was like, is it like, I don't know. I wasn't thrilled with the title. Then they started to get really, well, they're not too bad yet. Kitchens and recipes that work for you. And then we started to go a little off the rails. We had Food for a Dude. I don't know why that would have had anything to do with my cookbook, or how that would have tied the kitchens together. It was just like a silly name. Veggie Tables, I guess. I don't know. Like vegetables, but also tables. Kosher Food and Kitchen. Kebab with Bob. That was a very popular one. Now my grandfather's name was Bob, but he had nothing to do with the recipes in my cookbook, so I don't know about that one. Then let's see, Cooking and Renovating in a Kosher Kitchen. A Cook with a New Look. Still, at this point, I was like, no, Building Flavors. We're gonna go with Building Flavors. Reviving and Relishing. You see, because we got the kitchen, I guess, and the cooking part. Reviving and Relishing. Dinner and a Rehab. That wasn't bad. That wasn't a bad one. Relishing Your Rehab. I guess we started to move on to like the relishing stage. Sweat Equity and Sweets. I don't know about that one. What do you think about that one? Okay, and then there was this one. Tales from the Garbage Disposal, Rehabbing Houses, and Dinner. I was like, once you start to throw the word garbage into a title, I mean, okay, but still, like, it was starting to feel a little bit. Then it was like, trash your kitchen, not your food. So I was like, well, I don't know if that really explains exactly what I do and where I'm coming from, but I mean, kind of, I guess. You should, I don't know, rioting in the kitchen with me. But that was fun. I do not actually riot, so just to clarify. Regular Cooks, Awesome Kitchens. Palette and Palette, spelled differently. Didn't do that one. It's not terrible if you think about it, but also it's terrible. So, The Goldilocks Method, cooking just right in a just right kitchen. I don't know about that one either. I think if I had to be like the Goldilocks Method all the time, it just didn't explain who I was or what I was talking about in the book. Storage and porridge, I think that came right after the Goldilocks Method part because, of course, the porridge, Goldilocks. I kind of like this one, slab of stone, pound of sugar. What do you guys think about that one? Slab of stone, pound of sugar. I do not put a pound of sugar in any of my recipes, just to clarify. I do use slabs of stone in my kitchens. Dreams and creams. Take another sip. Beef stew and other things out of range. It got a little weird. This is what happens when you just start and it's just rolling. And you guys are just like, oh, how about this? Oh, how about this? Oh, how about this? Kitchen encounters. See the plan words? Counters and kugel. There's a few kugel recipes in my cookbook, so that makes sense. Smash a wall, crack an egg. I think I like that one. Just the sense of humor of like smash a wall, crack an egg. Remodeled kitchens and food. Redone, not overdone. Pickles for breakfast and other crazy additions. I do not, just to clarify, I do not have any pickles in my breakfast recipes. My friend's kid had a thing for pickles, and therefore they had the pickles for breakfast concept. Renovations and creations, and the creative kitchen. And those were the titles that we came up with before we came up with flipping houses and pancakes. And then I liked that one so much that it beat out building flavors, and decided to go with flipping houses and pancakes. And I've been really happy with that title. I hope you guys like that title. I think I've gotten some good reviews when it came to that title of like, hey, that's really cute. Hey, I see the tie-in, I flip houses and I flip pancakes. Not as often as my kids would like. They would like me to flip pancakes more often than I do. But I do both of those. And so that was kind of the process of finding a title, coming up with it. Sorry, the bronchitis. And then once I came up with that title, then I went ahead, and nobody knew except for this one friend that my title, that wasn't going to be the title of my cookbook at that moment in time. And I went ahead and I started an Instagram feed that had the title Flipping Houses and Pancakes, and I went from there. And then, of course, at some point in time, I'll talk to you about the progression of going from starting an Instagram feed to where I am today with like so much social media. I'll talk to you about that a different time, I guess. But let me know if you had any favorites in your titles, or if you have any great ideas for the next title. I would love to hear them. You can go ahead and comment down below. And then, of course, check out my channel for other videos on kitchen designing, house flips, homeschooling, and, of course, cooking.